meetings. All requests for membership are subject to board approval. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and role if you have one. Right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and often guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of words and language usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording this meeting. Your video audio contribution may be used for our club marketing purposes. Please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And the theme for tonight's evening is hot fun in the summertime. Please welcome our presiding officer of the evening, VP Christian Ramchurn.
Thank you, Mr. Soderstad Ohms. Thank you so much for setting the scene for summertime. In Mauritius right now, it's winter time. That's why you see me so cozy here. Having said that, anyone enjoying summer, enjoy it and bring the heat to this meeting. It's not about me, it's about you, it's about our role players, it's about our Toastmaster of the evening or the day, wherever you are. So please put your hands together or wave madly for our Toastmaster of the day who's making history in her books. Online presenters, Natasha Van Ellison, over to you, madam.
Thank you, Officer of the Day, Christian. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. I am so honored to serve as your online presenters Toastmaster of the evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Yes, this is my debut, and of course, my toes are quite wet at the moment. Christian tossed me into the beach waters last week at our last meeting. So thank you for that, Christian. I am jumping in feet first. And let's have some hot fun in the summertime. But those of you who are enjoying wintertime, still have some fun. So let's get started. The theme for the day is hot fun in the summertime. Last week, Toastmaster Rick Durling introduced us to summer solstice. And I thought it a show of conviviality to proceed with summertime fun since summer finally is here for most of us. The word of the day, convivial, is an adjective. Friendly, agreeable, fond of feasting, drinking, and merry company, jovial. Of or befitting a feast or festive. Yes, that can happen in the wintertime as well. I will place the word of the day in the chat box. So if everyone would please remember to use convivial in your speeches today. A few brief things to know about online presenters meetings. They're comprised of 3 parts. First, there's the educational program. This is where prepared speeches take place. We have impromptu speaking, where you will have fun table topics. And the most important part of the meeting is where participants will receive feedback and become better speakers. So as Toastmasters, I am happy to share the virtual stage with a team of helpers. I am not going to have fun in the summertime all by myself. So to begin the summertime fun, I would like to have the helpers, and we will begin with our general evaluator for the meeting, Angela Heath, to explain her role as general evaluator. Please help me welcome Angela Heath.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to serve as general evaluator for tonight. And my role is simply to allow my helpers to do their job and then report at the end of the meeting how the meeting went, so that we can all improve our meetings from one to the next. Looking forward to it. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that detailed explanation, Angela. Now let's hear from our timer, Rosina Duncanson, to explain her role this evening. Rosina Duncanson.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. So my role as timer is to keep track of the time of speakers, evaluators, and table topics presenters throughout the evening. And there are different times for different speakers, as noted by the Toastmaster of the Day. And the timing lights will look as follows. When there is a green light, and this is what the green light would look like, nice green in the summertime. Bright yellow daisies at the yellow light, and red for the red light. If you do need another notification for timing, please let me know, but these are your timing lights for 5, 6, and 7, or 1, 1.5, and 2 minutes. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Rosina. Thank you for that explanation. Now we will hear from our counter, Mary Ruth, DTM Mary Ruth Dilling, to explain her role. Mary Ruth.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As all counter today, I will be listening very carefully for those filler words. You know, like, and so things that we tend to use as a crutch while we're trying to think what to say next. Back to you.
Thank you, Mary Ruth. Next, we will have our grammarian. So let's welcome our grammarian, Emily Thompson, who graciously filled in this evening. Emily Thompson, please explain your role.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. As grammarian, I'll be monitoring language and grammar usage, and I'll also be monitoring for use of the word of the day, which is convivial today. And amongst our convivial group, I expect to see a lot of use of the word of the day. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Emily. Next, we will have our watcher. Our watcher is Carolina Ramirez.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My role as a watcher is to focus on the visual portion of our online meeting space. And at the end of the meeting, I provide feedback to you according to what I saw. Back to you, Natasha.
Thank you so much, Carolina. And next we have our chat monitor. Our chat monitor is Jeanette.
That would be me.
Laura. Hi, Laura. Laura
Hi.
is, would you please give me your, or just explain your role, please?
Absolutely, Madam Toastmaster. As chat monitor, I will be monitoring the chat, and I will give a report when called upon. Hopefully, I will have more convivial comments than not. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Well, thank you so much, Laura, for your conviviality. Ooh, tongue twister. Thank you so much. And finally, we will have our vote counter. Sarah Idenden, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Please explain your role.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I will be the vote counter tonight, and I will be counting the ballots after each meeting segment. That means after the prepared speeches, after the table topics, and after the evaluations. I will put the results in the chat. And as you vote, remember to vote to the vote counter privately. put your vote in the chat privately to the vote counter. I will tally the votes and have that one asked to do so. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you. Now, thank you, happy helpers, for your role introductions. Now, the moment we have all been waiting for while enjoying some fun in the summertime and wintertime, of course, for others. That is listening to our great speakers. Tonight, we have 3 wonderful speakers, and one is going to break the ice. Or no, this is her debut with online presenters. Wondering where to travel this summer? April has the answer for you. Today, she is sharing what adventures awaits us in Virginia. So please welcome April with her first online presenter speech on Your Adventure Awaits in Virginia. Your adventure awaits in Virginia. April.
Okay, I need to be able to share my screen. Not sure you guys that ability to allow me to
Just go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Madam Toastmaster. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. For some of us, we are now stepping into summer, and some parts of the world is beginning to reopen. And some summer vacations are now being planned, and you may be wondering where to travel to this summer. For the next few moments, I'm going to share with you of how your adventure awaits in the great state of Virginia. First, before you can travel to Virginia, I'm going to share with you where Virginia is located. Virginia is in the United States. It's located in the Mid-Atlantic region. It's along the East Coast, which borders the Atlantic Ocean. We're near the nation's capital, which is Washington, D.C., and we're about 4 to 6 hours away from New York, just depending on how fast you drive. Some quick facts about Virginia. One is the state itself was named after Queen Elizabeth I. It was named to honor her, and Queen Elizabeth I of England. The state is the birthplace of 8 United States presidents. The state played a major role in the Civil War. Over half the war was actually fought in the state of Virginia. The state's nickname is the Old Dominion, which was given by King Charles of England. And just a fun, quick fact about myself, I actually moved to Virginia after I completed high school to attend a university that's located in Norfolk, Virginia. And I attended a school called Old Dominion University. And the state slogan is called Virginia is for Lovers. And another fun fact, I met my husband here in the state of Virginia, and we've been married for 22 years. So if you're looking for love, Virginia may be the state for you. First, one of my best things about Virginia that I fell in love with when I moved here was our beautiful beaches. Here is a picture of Virginia Beach. It's Boardwalk. Virginia Beach is the most populous city in the state of Virginia. There's plenty of things to do. Here you can see there's family fun things. There's at the Boardwalk, there's restaurants, there's shops, there's nightclubs, there's bars. There's something for everyone. There's family fun things during the day, and it's a very active nightlife for the adults at night. Next, on the Chincoteak Island, which is something in Virginia that we get visitors from all over the world to come to visit these wild ponies. And they're basically world famous because these wild ponies and their ancestors have been on this island for over 300 years. They've been able to survive, and they live on a national wildlife refuge, which is on 15 acres. And on this island, you're able to swim, you can walk nature trails, you can bird watch, you can kayak, you can collect seashells. There's plenty of things to do. Next, for those of you that are convivial of the wine and beer, you can visit us for our wineries and craft breweries. State itself, we have over 300 wineries and over 200 impressive craft breweries. You can visit virginia.com to get a list of the different wineries and craft breweries to learn more. You can also create your own itinerary as well as create your own beer trail. In order to locate different beer trails, they are available throughout the state that you can actually visit. Also, if you're looking for something outdoorsy, the Devil's Bathtub is for you. It's also cool for outdoor enthusiasts. We get visitors from all over the world who come to visit the Devil's Bathtub. And the Devil's Bathtub is a natural rock formation. And this natural rock formation is located in the Jefferson's Natural Forest, and it's a part of a 7-mile hiking trail. And at the end, it's a natural smooth swimming hole, and that's the reason why it's called the Devil's Bathtub. And you can actually swim in it, so don't forget to pack your swimsuit. And then finally, if you're seeking an unearthly experience, we have the Lorraine Caverns, which is located in Lorraine, Virginia. And the Lorraine Caverns is the largest caverns that are located on the East Coast. And the Lorraine Caverns is a natural United States landmark, and their ceilings are 10 feet high, and it's well lit with paved walkways. And it's filled with towering stone columns and crystal clear pools, and you can hear haunting sounds of the world's only static organs, creating music of symphonic qualities from its stone formations. So I only went over a few things that Virginia has to offer. There's plenty of things for everyone in your family that can do. There's states, national parks, zoos and aquariums. There's something for everyone. You can visit virginia.org to learn more information about the different things that you can do in the state of Virginia. So what are you waiting for? Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Madam Toastmaster, can you unmute, please?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I apologize. I was so into the Devil's Bathtub and intrigued with Virginia. Thank you so much, April. Excellent speech. Next, we have speaker number 2. When you are writing a blog, which is the better approach? Lots of subjects, lots of posts, or a carefully curated collection of articles aimed at a specific niche market? Graham Cairns will discuss that today as he nears the end of his presentation mastery path. Please welcome Graham with his speech, Shotguns and Snipers. Graham Cairns.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. If a tree falls in a forest and there is nobody there to hear it, did it make a sound? That's actually a genuine physical question, because if a tree falls, but there is nobody to hear it, there is nothing to record the sound waves, no eardrums, then perhaps it doesn't make a sound. But more often we use it, if it happened and we didn't hear it, does it matter? That's actually really relevant when you're writing blogs. If you write a blog and nobody reads it, did you just waste your time? That's what we'll be looking at in Shotguns and Snipers today. Those of you who have not yet got to level 4 of your paths may not realize that there is an option in Pathways to create a series of blog posts. And then to report to the club on how that's gone. Well, I have done that creation of blog posts, and I'm now going to share some of the experiences, some of the things that are, I think, important. This is cairnscommunications.com. Anybody who's familiar with WordPress, and our club website is on WordPress, for example, will probably recognize that this is a WordPress blog. It is my business blog, but it's more a work in progress than anything actually serious. I started it some years ago because I wanted to keep up the practice of writing on a daily basis, and I kept that up for some years. It's less active now, but I still post semi-regularly. I decided when I started posting it that I wanted to talk about the things that were of interest to me. I wanted to talk about the media, because that's what I've spent 40 years doing. I wanted to talk about training, because that's why I'm, for example, a member of this club. I wanted to talk about presentation. Toastmasters is an important part of my life. But most of all, I wanted to talk about travel. I gave up working full-time specifically so that we could travel. That's worked out really well for the last 18 months, but that's not the point. The thing I would say is that I was doing this as something for love. And I didn't much care that people weren't reading my articles. Well, at least that's what I told myself. And yet I do care whether people are reading my articles. Let's take a look at the stats for this webpage. And as I say, I started doing this blog back in 2015. And in 2015, I got around about just under 6,000 views. In 2016, I got just under 8,000 views. Now, some years are better than others. But let's take a look at, for example, this 2015 year, and take a look at the blog posts that I did. Now, some of them might only have got 10 or 12 views, but others of them got more than 1,000. And I have to tell you, it feels good to get more than 1,000 people from all over the world wanting to read my words about whatever it is that I have decided on. This particular one, which is the most popular blog post that I've ever done, and I've repeated it a few times and it's got hundreds of views every time I do it, is how you can become a cruiser, that is on cruise ships, and get the cruise for free. Basically, I am what's called an enrichment lecturer. I get on the cruise. I do 4 lectures during a 7-day cruise on days when we're at sea. And then my wife and I travel for free. It's a great gig. Not much of it happening at the moment. Well, obviously, when you're offering people the opportunity to cruise for free, that's the sort of thing that gets attractions. But other things that I have on my blog are nowhere near as successful. Let's, for example, take you to media, which is my personal passion. But if I go to media and I take a look at the number of people who look at my media blog posts, nowhere near as many. I might only have a dozen people viewing some of these. So these are, if you like, the shotgun posts that I've made, posts that I've just shoved up there because I've wanted to. If I wanted to make money out of my blog, I'm certainly going to have many more readers than I currently do. And if I wanted to make money, I would have to very carefully target and hone what I'm writing. And I know that I can get promotion for my blog posts by, for example, going to Facebook groups that talk about cruising. And there are a number of Facebook groups that talk about cruising, and post links to some of my blog posts into that Facebook group. People will go and read them and comment on them. And that's where I get 1,000 or 2,000 people looking at my posts. If, for example, it's a blog post about radio, well, quite frankly, there aren't that many radio Facebook groups. There aren't that many people interested in radio. So that's the shotgun. I was asked specifically to talk in this presentation about where the ideas for blog posts come from. How do I choose what to write about? Well, before I answer that, I'm going to go back to the very word blog. Does anyone know where the word blog comes from? It's actually a shortening of weblog. Originally, a blog was a log of what you had found on the internet. you would do a sort of list of things that you found. This was something that I found interesting. It was like a little diary post. Well, since then, it has become much, much, much more. There are blogs on every subject under the sun, including the sun itself, if you wanted to go and search for those. So where do you find ideas? What interests you? If you try to write a blog about an issue that you have no interest in, what do you think is going to happen? Well, nobody's going to read it because you will be disengaged, and so will your audience. They say that content is king when it comes to providing material in the media, and particularly online. And that is true. You have to find content that people want to read about, but most of all, it has to be something that inspires you to write about. That's why I still write about media, even though it's a vanishingly small market. That's why I write about cruising, because it's what I love to do. It's why I write about travel, and why about 2/3 of my 5,000 blog posts over those years have been about travel. Find something that interests you, write about it, make it engaging, and the audience will come. You don't need to snipe. But by the same token, if you have too wide a shotgun blast, nobody's even going to get hit by one of your pellets. So you might as well not be writing. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Graham. Shotguns and snipers. A great attention getter. Thank you. Excellent speech. Our next speaker is Marianne Grady, and she will be giving an L4 speech. She will talk about a time when she coached someone and the impact it had on both her and the individual. Please welcome Marianne with her speech, Unlocking Potential. Marianne, Unlocking Potential.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight, my job is to talk about a situation where I coached somebody who's not necessarily a Toastmaster, somebody outside the club. Hello, everyone. And for those of you who may not know, coaching and mentoring are two different things. Coaching is usually for a short period of time addressing a particular problem or developing a strategy for a particular situation, where mentoring is over a longer period of time where the coach, or excuse me, where the mentor and the mentee really get to know one another well. Now, as I walked down memory lane in preparation for this project, I thought about all the different people I've coached and mentored over the years, and there's been a lot of success stories. So it was really just a pleasant visit to my past. But the person I landed on was a young man named Colin. And Colin reached out to me because he had an issue connecting with his new team, and his boss had suggested that he talk to me. Every time you meet a new client, you have to do what I call an intake session. And this is where you get to know that person that you're going to be working with a little bit better, because you do not want to give cookie cutter responses to them. You want to make sure that all of the things that you give them are relevant to them. On our intake call, Colin talked about the issue at hand, and he said how he was a newly minted manager and he had a group of people who weren't listening to him, not connecting with him, and really just frustrating the heck out of him. I had asked him what he thought the problem was. He shrugged his shoulders and said, I don't know. He said, I've used this methodology while I was in the military. Oh, the military. Isn't that where you give orders to people? I said, is that what you've been doing at work? Well, yeah, it works. How many people are in your group, Colin? About 10. Tell me what you know about these people. Do you know anything about their personal lives? I don't know anything about their personal lives. Nothing? No, it's irrelevant. Oh. The team Colin had inherited were high performers, and they were doing really well until Colin got there. So I asked him to consider what changed. Did he know the previous manager? And he did. So what kind of person was that guy, Colin? Well, he was a gabber. He wanted to know about your weekend. He had a lot of questions. He was a really nice guy, but he wasted a lot of time. Is it a waste of time to get to know your employees? It's unnecessary. Is it? How did employees like him? Did he get the desired results? Well, I guess so. Why do you think that is? I don't really know. Do they like him? Do they trust him? Do they believe he cares about them? I see where you're going with this. I said, well, do you think they like you? Do you think they trust you? Do you think they think that you care about them? Colin had an aha moment. And after that, our meetings became far more convivial. Colin got what we needed to do, and he started to do the work. We talked about how it would be important for him to kind of hit the reset button with the team, to let him know that he wanted a fresh start with them. He did that. And for homework that I gave him, I asked him to sit down for 1.5 hour coffee chats with people periodically. So he started to do that. And that's when he learned about their significant others' names, what was going on in their lives. He heard about their kids. And this was a really good thing because after about 3 months, Colin had warmed up to his people and they started to warm up to him. He was asking them more questions about work. He was making appropriate suggestions at the right time, and he was allowing them to do their work as they decided to do it and not barking out orders at them all the time. It was working, and his team was extremely collaborative, and Colin found out that he really did actually like working like that. So at the end of our engagement, he thanked me profusely and we parted ways. A short time later, I received a card in the mail from him, and he talked about how profoundly our time together had impacted how he looked at managing people and how he saw how important the relationships were if he wanted to get good results and have a happy, cohesive team. He talked about, he said, you should have charged me a lot more money for what you did for me. And I thought that was pretty funny because Colin was my first paying client. And when he said that, I was so happy when he said, you know, how much I had impact with him. The time we spent was really good for him, but it was even better for me. I had that feeling of helping somebody unlock their potential. And that was an awesome feeling for me. And my time with Colin cemented the passion that I had for coaching people. Now, I'd like to read you a quote. And I thought this was truly applicable to my speech tonight. Each person holds so much power within themselves that needs to be let out. Sometimes they just need a little nudge, a little direction, a little support, or a little coaching. And the greatest things can happen. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And with my entire being, I think it's important to help others achieve their goals. So when you learn something, when you understand something, when you really get it, it's time for you to coach somebody else with that knowledge, because you will be giving them the keys to unlocking their potential. And at the same time, you will be unlocking a little bit of your own. You will not regret it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And please disregard the chat information that was supposed to be for Christian. He's coaching me. He's helping me to unlock my Toastmaster of the Day debut potential. Thank you, Marianne. Excellent speech. Thank you. Now we shall move into the table topics portion. But before we do that, I need to ask for the timer's report. Madam Timer, did everyone qualify?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. We had one person with just in time over, so April and Marianne qualified.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Timer. Thank you for that. Next, we will move into our table topics portion. Tricia, if you would please join me on the virtual stage to prepare for the table topics portion of the meeting. Tricia Smith.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. I am going to need to share my screen. So if I can get permission for that, please.
Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you. There we go. All right. And I have a few, oh, excuse me. I'm not sure what happened to my picture here, but most of my slides have pictures. So we're just going to look at the question here and just imagine your own picture. I have a couple people written down that I noticed did not have roles for our meeting tonight. So I'm going to suggest that we start with Andrew Byrne. Are you available? And would you like to answer this question? What is your favorite season of the year and why? If you could include the state you grew up in and where you reside currently, if that's different, and give us a convivial story to explain your reflection about this topic.
Well, thank you very much, Marianne, or Tricia, actually. I am most happy and convivial to share my thoughts on this topic. If you can make the slide a little bit larger so I can actually read it, that would really be helpful.
Oh,
but
sure.
But in answer to your question, what is my favorite season? My favorite season is actually the summertime. I like the summertime because for the most part, if you're warm and you're not shivering, that's a good time. But when you're raising kids, it's wonderful to not have it snowing outside and worrying about dressing up your kids so they don't freeze and putting jackets on and boots and all those other kinds of things. It's a real pain to get little kids ready to go outdoors and to play when there's snow outside. Therefore, I like the summertime. I enjoy the beach. I enjoy going to the beaches and playing in the sand and making sandcastles with the kids. And even as I'm older now, I still enjoy doing sandcastles and enjoying the beach. The sound of the ocean is so powerful in relaxing you that people have actually taken that sound, recorded it, and put it into sleep sounders or devices that provide that same ocean sound to help you relax and sleep at night. Whenever I hear that ocean breeze sound and the waves crashing on the shore, it's very relaxing. It's easy to be mindful of how relaxed you are, and your whole body feels like it's relaxed. I enjoy that sound, and the summertime brings it on. People say, I don't like the summer because it's way too hot, but you have air conditioning today, and you have beaches you can go to cool off, and you have pools, and you don't have to wear as many clothes. So for me, the summertime is definitely the better time. Madam Table Talks Master.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Let's look at the next topic. It looks like I lost my screen, so let me get it back here. And
Madam Table Topics Master, before you move on, please also pay attention to the messages coming towards you in the chat. Please pay attention to the messages coming towards you in the chat. Thank you. Over to you.
okay, I just want to note that when I share my screen like this, I'm not able to have access to the chat, but I did previously. So I apologize if I need to, let's see. No, I'm sorry. It's not letting me do that. Is there something I need to address that you can let me know about?
Please move on with this question, and then
All right.
afterwards, well, have a look at the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm not seeing any of the images, the wonderful images that I had with my slides. So we're just going to get the questions tonight. And I'm going to suggest Deborah Carr, if she can graciously agree to join us for this table topic. The question is, what is your favorite vacation? If you can describe it for us, the places, events, season, etc. Deborah Carr, I thought you were available.
You're muted, Deborah.
Thank you. I saw that you could see me. Thank you for the question. I don't know if I have a favorite vacation. Seriously, I mean, I've done so many things throughout the years. It didn't matter if I went to the beach with my kids and we stayed, you know, at a resort yearly with the same couples and their kids, and everybody watched over each other's kids, and we had water balloon fights and bonfire talks, and to going out and hiking in Colorado. And, you know, I've been lucky to travel, not a lot, but enough that anytime to just relax is really cool for me. Excuse me. I'm fortunate enough to be in West Michigan, where Lake Michigan is 40 minutes away. And my son's second home is also in West Michigan. So I can just, in 40 minutes, I can just scoot down and be in that area and take an afternoon, or I can even sit in my backyard. So to me, everything's like a mini vacation, as long as it's zen and it's fun and just enjoyable, what works for me. I've never been on a cruise. I don't really have any interest in it. And over the last few years, I don't even want to fly anymore. So being in a car and or the Jeep that I have, and seeing the mountains or northern Michigan and the UP is just fabulous. So wherever I'm at and away and off the grid lately is just a perfect vacation for me. That's it.
Thank you very much. That was very convivial to listen to. The third topic, if I could please call on Lucas Califal, if you can help us with this topic. What is your favorite childhood memory with your family?
I would have to say that it is very closely connected with what my favorite vacation is. It's something that sticks into my mind that I remember quite frequently. And there are things that come to mind just randomly. So the favorite childhood memory, I would say, is spending 2 weeks in Argentina with my brother and my mom and my dad. We were there for 2 weeks, going to different places in Argentina, experiencing a lot of different climates. Argentina, of course, is a very large country, and depending on where you go, you're going to experience different weather. So imagine landing in the capital city of Argentina, where it's very metropolitan. And at the time that I went, it would have been around winter there, or at least it was getting a little bit cold. So going from a metropolitan area to an area where it was much more like a rainforest, it was humid. It reminded me a lot of Miami, Florida, which is where I'm from. And then flying to close to the Andes Mountains, where it was very cold. I think the coldest that coldest weather I've ever been in going to a ski town and enjoying the different activities there. It was an amazing childhood memory, one that I frequently remember, and it's something that I remember frequently, and I can't wait to go back to Argentina, and I might even hop a plane over to Chile as well. Back to you, Topics Master.
Thank you very much. That was I would love to go to Argentina myself. Never been there. Do we have time for another table topics? One more. All right. I'm going to call on Mr. Carl Walsh. Are you available to take one of our tabletop? Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
All right. I'm going to say you can pick one of these. Can you please tell us what is your favorite day of the week or favorite month or your favorite season? And if you want to include something you enjoy doing during that time, if it's the season.
Well, first of all, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone here. My favorite season, actually, I don't have a favorite day. I don't really have a favorite month, but my favorite season is the fall. I love the fall. I love the colors. My second favorite season is led directly into winter. And winter is so great because it's cold. I love the cold. The great clothing, fabulous winter clothing. I always enjoy that. The heat from summer is something that I just cannot stand. Anything above about 75 degrees, I'm not into it. And then spring is sort of, in Southern California, not much happens in spring other than hay fever. So fall definitely comes in there. And I remember in particular where I really fell in love with autumn was when I lived in England, where they have like real seasons there. And the smell from chimneys of burning wood as you walk down the street, and the hot drinks, all of it. It's just a magical time for me. I dearly, dearly love the autumn. And let's face it, it's the season of football, okay? So particularly college football. And I love that as well. So there you have it. Autumn wins my vote. Back to you, Tricia.
Thank you so much. Vivid description. I could picture it. I could smell the hot drinks. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to turn it back to our topic, our Toastmaster of the day, Natasha. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Wonderful table topics. Excellent, excellent job. We're going to move right along. However, I do have an announcement. If you would please make sure you vote for the best speakers. Currently, there are only two. We have April and Marianne. We also need to find out who the best table topics speaker was. Did everyone qualify, Madam Timer?
Yes, everyone qualified. Back to you.
Thank you. So if you all would please vote for your favorite table topic speaker and your favorite speaker of the evening. And they will be tallied. Christian, is that correct? At the end of the meeting, will you poll? Are you polling?
We are not polling. We have a vote counter. She will share it in the chat at the end. And with you.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, moving along, we will now have, at this time, I will gladly bring up and pass the virtual mic to our general evaluator, Angela Heath. So Angela is going to lead the evaluation portion of the meeting. So Angela Heath, if you could please join me on the virtual stage. Angela Heath.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those hot summer days get me convivial. Woo! I love that song. Hi, everybody. I am your general evaluator for this evening. And as you can see, this has been a fun evening for me. The purpose of this section of the meeting is actually to challenge us all to do better. Not just the speakers, but all of us. So My job is simple. All I do is introduce the people who will do the work. So let's get right to it. Our first evaluator for April is going to be Toastmaster Lois Margolia. Welcome her to the stage.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, most welcome guests, and especially our speaker, April. Your adventure awaits in Virginia. What a convivial speech. I just love the title, and I am a history buff. So you started off with history, and I was already hooked. April, this was a fun, light speech, but we could tell you did your homework. The fact that you could tell us about Queen Elizabeth, that you could tell us how many presidents were born there, it was just a lot of fun. I thought it was interesting how you brought in the power of three. I moved to Virginia for college and I met my husband. It is definitely the state for lovers. So there was a way that you were bringing in that power of three. Kudos to you. Your slides were gorgeous. I'm not sure if you were using PowerPoint. I haven't seen that background before, but I really enjoyed it. And it worked so nicely. When you brought up those beaches, I was just like, oh, wow, this is so gorgeous. It had a while I had to like get back into the speech because I was just enjoying the visuals that much. And that is part of giving a really strong speech. I loved all the different pieces that you brought in. I especially loved the bathtub. And I had to know, was it a hot bathtub? Because you're walking 7 miles, so you're going into something really cold or really hot. So I was more curious about that. But overall, it was a lot of fun. Your ending was strong. Visit virginia.com or .org for more information. What are you waiting for? It was a nice call to action. These were things that you did very well. A couple of minor tweaks that you might want to consider. Have your presentation running. So when you're called upon, you're not getting the slide right then, because that takes away a couple of seconds and we don't need to see all your slides. We just need to see that. Be careful of, I'm going to show you. You don't need to say that. You can just say, and now, and I'm showing you this. Just show, we're good. I also wanted to know more about you personally. Even though this was a research speech, when you were talking about your husband, throw out his name. Let us connect with you on a personal basis. And so here is my challenge to you overall, is throw in your own personal things. What did you like the most about Virginia? What was it about Virginia that tells you it is waiting for you, that there is something so fabulous? Did you take that 7-mile trip to the hot tub or bathtub? Did you actually go visit the ponies on the island? What was it that lit you up that you want people to visit that island? So bring in a little bit of your personality, have some fun with it, but overall, great speech. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to your next one. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Okay, excellent evaluation. Let's get over to our second evaluator, Roxanne Hussein, who will be evaluating Graham Cairns. Roxanne, over to you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The objectives for this speech for DTM Cairns was to share some aspect of his experience writing, building, posting, or maintaining a blog. He also had a self-imposed objective, which is to do his speeches impromptu. He had shared that with us in a meeting some time before. And what he did was, before going on, he asks me what aspect of his topic I would like to hear him talk about. Yeah, he did that before going on. That's with no prep, okay? So it's already a broad scope. To answer the question, did he meet the objective? Yes, and yes. He even touched upon very nicely that piece that I threw in there for him. So as we went on, one of the things that both, of course, were met. He did meet those objectives, and I've said that already. He introduced us to his process from the technical aspect, showing us the site, the WordPress and all that, a little behind the scenes. He took us to how he did the creative, the content. His opening was something of a misdirect. We know what his objective was and we know what his title was. So it had me thinking, all right, where's he going with this? But he brought it home. If the tree didn't make a sound, but the bigger question is, if nobody heard it, does it matter whether or not it made a sound? He tied that back to his stats. And what we found out after he went a little further is that nobody cares about likes if they aren't getting any, but everybody loves them when they are. So tying it back to that opening and to his title, Shotgun and Sniper, he has those topics that garners the likes, but he has that sniper one that it's his interest. Enjoyed all that. His forensic, his delivery, his, to Lois's point, giving us some of him. He told us about what he does out on cruises, etc. We got all of that. What I would suggest as something that would take this to another level is the structure. What we did get was a lot. The project did ask to give us some aspect of blogging. I would have taken it down to just one aspect or two. For instance, picking your topic and then tying that back with the stats. I will give you more details in your written evaluation, but I enjoyed this and look forward to more from you.
Okay, thank you, Roxanne. Thank you. And for our final evaluation, we're going to have Richard Derling evaluating Marianne Grady. Richard, take it over.
Good evening, fellow online presenters, and most especially Marianne. Marianne, I very much enjoyed your speech. There's a lot of elements in this that are just well constructed, and I know that you were signed up to do this speech tonight. One of the things that I really, really liked about the way that you constructed this story was providing the input, the ability for us, the audience, to hear the convivial relationship that you had with Colin. You did that through using a question answer type format, having a discussion with him and showing both sides of it. That also demonstrated some voice variety. Could you have added a little bit to Colin's voice? Perhaps, but I don't think it was necessary. What you did was perfect. It really brought this whole situation to the fore. Now, you did some other things that were extremely well done as well, including things like eye contact, word choice, and things of that nature. But the timeline structure is something that I always find works best in these kinds of stories. And yes, I do believe this is a story you told us tonight, a story that I have no question is absolutely true. So here's a couple of things to consider to take this in another direction. Give some consideration to gestures. Gestures really do add to any speech. And the way that you're positioned, we can really only see you from about here up. If you could see your gestures, and towards the end, I saw you were moving your hands, I think this would add to the story. Using gestures such as to pull people in, to show the collective connection that you're developing, all of those kinds of things I think would have played well in this story because of what you were doing with teaching him and helping him learn how to go from being a drill sergeant to being truly a leader. And I think that's the essence of your story. And that's where I'm going to come to the second thing. Second thing I want to offer to you is your opening remark. Your closing remark was spot on. I loved the way that you talked about helping him, people discovering something themselves, and in so doing, they can carry it forward and use it in their lives going forward. That was clearly one of the hardcore messages that you were delivering. I think if you had opened it with some kind of a statement, even the concept of saying, Colin and I took a journey where he went from being a drill sergeant to being a real leader, that would have helped connect the front of that story to the back. So those are two things I think that would help take this to another level. But overall, I really feel that this was an excellent speech. I enjoyed listening to you tonight, and I am looking forward to the next story in these journeys that you're taking people on. Thank you very much, Marianne. Back to you.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, guys, we're going to continue going with this evaluation. We have some other folks who are here to help us speak better. And I am going to add, before I do, I'm going to ask Timer, did everyone meet the qualifications for evaluation?
Yes, everyone met the qualifications. I'm going to drop it in the chat.
Okay, so guys, you can vote for your favorite evaluator. Send your votes over to the vote counter. So I will ask for our first helper to give us a report. And that will be our watcher for today, Carolina. Over to you.
Okay, as watcher, I have some favorite backgrounds: Natasha, Emily, Graham, and Marianne. Convivial backgrounds very related to the theme of this meeting. Some suggestions for our speakers. April, I love the pictures of Virginia. Great spots to visit. Graham, I would suggest to use a little zoom to show the website. Marianne, when you were reading your final quote during your speech, you were a little close to the camera. I would suggest to keep more distance. And for everyone who has slides to enhance his or her presentation, it's a good idea to test or to project them before the meeting, just to check that everything is working okay. And a final remark: congrats for your skills, change your backgrounds. Believe it or not, I don't know how to do that yet. That's my report.
Thank you so much, a great report. Our next helper is our chat monitor, Laura. How did we do today?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, here are some highlights from the chat today. There were several compliments for Rosina's creative use of the timer, her use of the vivid green leaves, yellow flowers, and red flowers instead of just a plain color. And also, there were some comments about Devil's Bathtub. The question was, is it hot? Ooh, good question. And several compliments for Graham's speech as well. And there was a suggestion that we should have a travelogue from all the members of the countries and states that are represented by online Toastmasters presenters. And finally, kudos for the excellent evaluations that we heard. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, let's keep going. Our grammarian is Emily. Help us improve, Emily. How did we do?
Thank you, Angela. We had a large use of the word of the day. It would be perhaps easier to list people who didn't use the word of the day than did. I caught 11 people using it in the chat, in table topics, in evaluations, in the speeches, and in casual comments. We had wonderful phrases that were evocative of travel, including the Chincoteak Island wild ponies. I'm just wild to go there. The Devil's Bathtub. Cairns had a couple of good phrases with a shotgun post and the sniper post, as well as we could become a cruiser that is on a cruise ship. Marianne had some interesting phrases with unlocking the potential and obtaining the key to unlocking our full potential. We had a wonderful, actually it was a seamless interface between the table topics and the comments, and it was all about traveling, which I think a lot of us love to do. Virginia is for lovers. We heard Graham talk about cruises, and when we looked up where he's been recently, it's New Zealand and California. And then April replied, a Disney cruise will change your life. We saw people advertising for Argentina as the best place to travel, and then other people offering up Toastmasters to host us in Chile, and so on. I really enjoyed the references to travel and many fine phrases throughout. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Excellent. Thank you, Emily. And to round up our evaluation from our helpers tonight is Mary, who's going to tell us how we did with our ums and ahs, ah counters report.
Yes, Madam Evaluator. I am going to run through these. April, you had some ahs, and it's a couple of so's. Your favorite was and, though you had 9 ands. Christian, I caught just a few ahs. Andrew, just 1 so, 1 ah. Some of these were so. Natalia, you didn't want to play favorites. So you had some ahs and ums and ands and so's. Roxanne, you didn't want to play favorites either. You also had some repeats with talking about his title. Deborah, your favorite was and a you know. Let's see, Trisha, you only had a couple, and Lucas only a couple. Graham, you only had a couple. Angela, you only had a couple of so's and let's see, Dr. Hall, you had a few, just a tiny bit. And Carl, you had a couple of repeats with I, and it's, a couple of so's, ands, and uhs. And that's it for my report tonight.
Much for your excellent report. So to round it up, guys, my opinion of tonight's meeting is that it was an actually fun meeting. It did feel like people were getting really into the subject matter, and our Toastmaster of the day did an excellent job her first time. Woo-hoo! Fantastic. I enjoyed all of the speeches, and everybody looked so good with our VTM Con background. So that was excellent. In terms of improvement, I do believe that we need to be more precise about who's playing what role. That confusion threw me off. I have a lot of scratches on my paper, not knowing who to call for what role. So let's kind of get that together. And this is my biggest complaint, and this one is huge. We should have been singing. We cannot have a theme about a song that we all love without playing it. So we have to factor that into our timeline. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Angela. And you are so right about the song, but I was not sure if I had to test the waters, but I love some summertime music. Yes. The next time we'll have music. Convivial, I have had an excellent time serving as your Toastmaster of the day, and whew, I made it, I survived. So I will gladly give this, the mic. I will pass the mic to Christian, who is the officer of the day. But before I do that, I do want to thank all of the helpers. And I don't care what anyone says, the general evaluator, you are a lifesaver. So thank you. Back to you, Officer of the Day, Christian.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And please unmute yourself and give her a big shout and round of applause. Woohoo! Congratulations. Natasha, there's also an opening for backup co-chair at VTMCon over the coming week. You're more than welcome to apply for that. All right. So while we wait for our vote counter to tally her votes, and there they are in the chat. So let's hear it for the best speaker, who is none other than Marianne Grady. Congratulations, madam. Best table topic speaker is Carl Walsh. Congratulations, Carl. And best evaluator, I believe that was a close call, Rick Derling. Thank you. Congratulations. And looking forward to your next speeches. All right, so a few announcements. I believe we are all proud and happy to see our new members, namely Laura and Carolina, stepping up to the plate and delivering on their reports. I believe they aced it for their first time. And remember, you can sign up for more roles later on down the line. For our next meeting, we are looking for a Toastmaster that's available. So rush and sign up for it. And look at Natasha, look at the big smile on her face. I didn't throw her into the sea. She jumped in feet first, and she's now swimming happily. So that's how you do it at Online Presenters. We did announce the last meeting of June 2021 as a celebration event. We're not able to go ahead with it because most of our officers are engaged in VTMCon and it's the last week. So we are going to postpone it. We'll work with the incoming team to see if we can schedule at least a celebration speech in July. So please watch out for that announcement. Talking about VTMCon, our club contestant, Angela Heath. Where's Angela? Where's our journal evaluator? There she is. She went, she delivered, and it was a successful moment for online presenters. Woohoo! And I'm happy to say, Angela, that you were within time. Yes. If you want to know the results, sign up for VTMCon, and I'm going to post the link shortly for you if it hasn't been posted already. What's also coming up at VTMCon is the breakout moment for online presenters. It's happening on Sunday the 27th at 11:40 a.m. Eastern Time. And on this, I'd like to invite for a minute our showrunner, Carl Walsh, who's going to tell us what's happening there and why we should attend. Carl, if you're still here, can you just unmute and share what's happening
Certainly.
at VTMCon? Go on, sir.
Certainly, what I'm going to be doing and what the team is going to be doing is going through what are called theater games. It's semi-improvisational work, and I'm demonstrating how I use them to get my points across to a business audience. Rather than preaching to them, I let them experience what I'm talking about. And so we'll have a series of theater games. We have some of our own people who will be participating, but we'll be pulling strangers into it. And this always turns out to be a lot of fun, but also fairly educational. So I encourage all of you to come along and watch. Trisha did a beautiful job the other day in our dry run of improvising Shakespeare. She's just was dynamite. You should have seen her. So come along and have the fun with us. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Carl. And yes, come along, go register and see what happens and be part of the fun because it's going to go very fast. Now, that's all I had to share as announcements. Guess what? We had a few people who were in the meeting and couldn't speak. And let's hear from them. But before that, I'd like to hear from our guest, Dr. Kirain Hall. How was it? And I know you wanted to get an evaluation slot, maybe for next time. So your impressions. and I think she's blessed by the internet connectivity. All right, so while we wait for her to get reconnected. Oh, she's back. She's back. Okay, she's back. Go on.
I'm sorry, it's storming
It's all right.
here.
Go on.
A convivial meeting, and it's my second meeting. Love it. Love being here. Learn a lot, and thank you guys. It's awesome.
Thank you, madam. And by the way, if you want to be here next time, just sign up, and we look forward to having you. And yes, do volunteer for a role. Oh, and yes, Marianne, you want to share something?
I know a lot of you are going to the VTM Con, but I had the pleasure of sitting in on the dress rehearsal for the tech tips. You do not want to miss this. Everyone was phenomenal. Roxanne was amazing. David Carr, we had Chris, I can't think of his name, Gould, but they were like amazing, as well as the other people. So Lois is moderating, but it is truly something as presenters you will not want to miss. Just had to tell you that.
Thank you, Marianne, and thank you for promoting the tech tips. Yes, that's going to be another fantastic moment. I didn't want to share about it, but thank you for promoting that. All right, we also have Nikenji in the room. Nikenji, would you like to unmute yourself and share with us over 30 seconds how it was for you this session? And Nikenji has left her laptop. So we'll move on to Saiki Show. Saiki Show, it's good to see you. Hope to get you more into the roles. So tell us, how was the meeting for you?
I came in for a meeting, but then I realized that we had an international speech contest today of 3 great speeches, an evaluation contest. So it was 3 in 1 for me, and truly enjoyed it.
Thank you, Saiki Show. Let's hear from Marty. Marty, tell us, when are you signing up for your role at the next meeting, or which role you're going to take up? You're muted, sir. There you go.
Well, I'm here, and frankly, I am ready to do more or less anything that you folks want. What would you like me to do next meeting?
Well, after we close the meeting, I'll just reach out to you, and we can have a quick chat.
Excellent. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. Because of time, we're going to close this meeting officially, but then watch out for the after party, where you can share more about VTMCon, what roles you're taking, what projects you're working on, and talk about online presenters. Thank you, everyone. And I now declare this meeting officially closed.